what we've done with the Theater Up Close series is that we've created our own regional theater. We're so lucky to have such amazing artists living and working here in South Florida, and that allows us to build this model in a way that's different than anybody else in the country is doing it.
The Arsht Center breaking new ground with the Theater Up Close series, providing a unique way to experience shows right here in South Florida before the rest of the world. Hey everyone, I'm Jose Suarez and welcome to this very special edition of Six in the Mix. We're going to be previewing the Adrienne Arsht Center's Theater Up Close series. First up today, a musical about assassins that either attempted to or actually killed American presidents. I caught up with the musical director for Assassins to find out how music plays into such a morbid topic. Carol, tell me a little bit about what you do to prepare as musical director for Assassins.
I've read a lot about Stephen Sondheim, and he is an amazing individual. He's brilliant, and I find that this piece, I think above all of his work, is so accessible and relevant, and I just find that some of the melodies are haunting and some are just beautiful. The characters are so well drawn and well conceived, and we find out so much more about the stories that shaped our country through the writing.
It seems like a lot of things have South Florida ties, including the show. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, one of the assassination attempts that is discussed and presented in the show actually did take place in Bayfront Park. So there is definitely a lot of South Florida history in this.
What can we expect from the music when we come and see the show?
It's just a unique piece of theater, and the opportunity to work with Zoetic at the Arsht Center is just so incredible. And we also look for people who are excellent musicians, because Sondheim is not easy music to sing. It certainly helps when people can read music or are familiar with the way Sondheim writes, which is nothing is expected.
When you're preparing these actors to perform, it has to be exciting, first of all, to perform at the Arsht Center.
It is.
That's a big deal.
It is a big deal, and it's one of the premier performing arts centers in the country, if not the world. And everyone here is so wonderful to work with, and gracious and respectful of artists and what we do, that it's just a joy. It really is a joy to bring all of these elements together.
Take me through a typical rehearsal.
We generally start musicals by learning music. We start with a few days of intense music rehearsals. Everybody needs to bring a recording device and a pencil and, really be prepared to work at learning what's on the page. The counting, the time signatures in Sondheim are notorious for changing constantly. So I need people to come with an open mind and look at it from a fresh point of view.
What's your favorite part of it all?
I just love playing for these amazing singers, and I love bringing the band together. We have a live band, which is also going to be comprised of tremendous South Florida musicians. And then opening night, when we finally have an audience to share our work with, is just wonderful. And knowing that we have done our jobs well by way of their appreciation, that's when it all comes together and is so rewarding.
Assassins will be singing and dancing on January 30th through February 23rd inside the Carnival Studio Theater. To learn more, log on to arshcenter.org to select your seats and to even read a synopsis of the show. You're watching a very special edition of Six in the Mix here on NBC6 South Florida. We are coming right back. Hey there, welcome back everyone. I'm Jose Suarez. Our next play takes a look behind the closed doors of the Hollywood elite. I sat down with the award-winning playwright Michael McKeever, who shares his inspiration behind the writing of Clark Gable Slept Here. Michael, first up, tell me a little bit about Zoetic Stage, how it came to be and why it's important to South Florida.
Sure. Myself and my partner, Stuart Meltzer, and our very good friends, Chris and Stephanie Demos Brown, we brought in another founding member, Carrie Schiller, and the five of us put together this concept of creating art here in South Florida that goes around the world, and so people know that it was born here.
How does the Adrienne Arsht Center play into this?
Well, one of the first things you have to do when you're putting together a theater company is find a home. And the Arsht was incredibly generous and incredibly gracious in welcoming us and saying, come, be a part of this incredible center. Having the premier address in Miami for entertainment and for the arts, it's tantamount to winning the lottery. I mean, it has been an incredibly exciting and very fulfilling relationship.
Now, one of the exciting things that I want to touch upon is the fact that you said it starts here, it's grown here, it's created here, and then it just spreads through the world.
Exactly.
Tell me a little bit about how that's worked so far and kind of where that's going.
Sure, gladly. As a playwright, you write a play and you really hope that it's going to have a life, that it's going to get produced not just once, but a second and third and fourth production. And fortunately, I've written a number of plays and they've had lives. The very first play that we produced here at the Adrienne Arsht with Zoetic Stage was a play, a world premiere that I wrote called South Beach Babylon, which not only premiered in South Florida, but took place in South Florida. That play just in this past year received its second production in another theater in Sarasota called Florida Studio. They gave it a glorious production, and it just got picked up and is being translated right now in German for productions in Germany.
Congratulations.
So it's kind of exciting that you sit and watch something come together in the hands of a really great director and a really great cast, and then just go out into the world from there.
So talk to me a little bit about Clark Gable Slept Here. You wrote this?
Yes.
You're actually in it.
I'm a very funny person. If I was joking, you'd be laughing. Are you laughing? No. Then I'm not joking.
Very cool.
Yes.
Tell me about the process for you.
Clark Gable Slept Here was an idea that's been in the back of my mind for a while. It explores what it means to be a real man in America, and specifically what it means to be a real man in Hollywood, and how Hollywood defines its heroes, defines its men. And so I said, well, what happens if we have the world's greatest action star about to win his first Golden Globe Award, and while he's there winning that award, his staff, the people that work for him, are trying to figure out what the dead male naked prostitute laying on his bedroom floor.
That's never a good problem to have.
In this situation, though, it's a very funny problem, and that's kind of what the play explores, is how the insanity that these people are faced with in trying to get rid of this naked corpse.
Where did this whole concept come from? Like, what made you say, you know what, this is a cool story, I got to write this down?
Well, you always hear legends in Hollywood from back in the 1920s to today about stars and the closets they hide in, and I wanted to explore that. I thought it'd be kind of a fun thing to touch base on. And so I said, you know what? I want to have someone who's about to have this great breakthrough in his career, and the possibility of him being exposed, because that raises the stakes and makes it very interesting to an audience. I said, well, what could do that? How can we personify that crisis? I know, a naked, dead male prostitute. And that's kind of how it came.
What's your role in the show?
I play Hilly Hilliard, who is the super manager to the lead actor, to the main character, who's never seen. And my character...
Wait, you never see him?
You never see the superstar.
Okay.
He's at the Golden Globes winning his award, which you're dealing with.
He's busy.
He is.
He's busy.
He's being a star.
He's been busy.
Yes, and the rest of us are having to deal with, the mess he left after being, busy. So it's the character that I play, plus a Hollywood fixer, plus the staff of this hotel, try to deal with, how to make this all go away.
What's it feel like? Are you this is a world premiere that's going to happen here at the Adrienne Arsht Center. Butterflies? Are you scared? Are you nervous?
It's one of these things that I've written, I've written 20 plays now, and knock on wood, they've all been produced, and I got to tell you, I'm still terrified. Every new production, every new play, it's always as scary as the very first one. But it's good. It's a very good kind of terror, because it keeps the adrenaline flowing and keeps the moments happening.
Is this your favorite so far?
Clark Gable?
Yeah.
It's easily in my top 3. It's one of those plays where, when we had the first table read, where you sit around and the actors and the directors sit around and read the script, you could feel there's a wonderful energy in there. You could feel there's a really something special about certain ones. Certain ones just like, oh my God, there's so much work here. This one has a very special energy. We laughed a lot when we were working at that table.
That's awesome. Hey, and you can be part of the mayhem of Clark Gable Slept Here, March 20th through April 6th inside the Carnival Studio Theater. To learn more, it's as easy as logging on to arshcenter.org. You can find seats so that you don't miss a beat of the entire show. You're watching a special edition of 6 in the Mix here on NBC6 South Florida. We'll be back real quick. You're watching a special edition of 6 in the Mix. I'm Jose Suarez. Next up, we have a fairy tale about a little girl who grows up in a village in Michigan under a constant winter blizzard her entire life. It's so bad that she decides to take matters into her own hands. Here's a look at Rose and the Rhyme. Can you imagine never seeing the sun? That's the dilemma facing Rose and the people of Radio Falls, Michigan in Rose and the Rhyme.
It's sort of frozen everything and everyone's hunkered down and separated and sort of stopped life in this town.
Needless to say, everyone is trying to stay warm inside their homes. The thing is that this place was once happening until it had a special coin stolen from them by an evil witch. The city is now under a curse that has brought an eternal snowstorm. It's up to Rose to save them all and break the spell.
So Rose goes on this journey to find the witch and recover the coin and bring prosperity back to her home.
When Rose returns with the rare coin, Radio Falls discovers the magical coin has two sides, and the entire town and audience are left wondering what's going to happen next. Co-writer and director Nathan Allen tells us exclusively why he's so excited for South Florida to see this show.
We get to open up the doors on this room that's just filled with this sort of winter epic landscape and have all these Miamians come in and walk through snow and throw snow at each other and play around.
Nathan is now the artistic director at the House Theater in Chicago. But when he was creating Rose and the Rhyme, he was actually living in Michigan, which provided some inspiration.
We sort of applied these symbols of winter, because it was winter while I was there, and witch, I don't know where that came from, but Rose and the Rhyme just being sort of symbols of summer and life and winter and cold and frost.
And you can help save the town in Rose and the Rhyme, April 23rd through May 18th inside the Carnival Studio Theater. You can buy tickets and more. Just head over to arshcenter.org. Well, this next show reveals a hidden truth about a guy who thought that he had the perfect life until it all came crumbling down around him in The Great God Pan. I caught up with the play's director and lead actor to try to find out what caused this tailspin. So Stuart, tell me about your involvement in Zoetic Stage, and also your name is on every director credit for every show.
Yes, it is. It is because I'm cheap. I've heard that. Yes, exactly. No, honestly, I'm the artistic director of Zoetic Stage, and it's really a gift for me to certainly to have the opportunity to pick our season, to look widely and to select what I think that the community really is hungry for, and also what the community playwrights are hungry to write. I'm blessed to have that chance to work with the local actors and artisans throughout the season.
Nick, tell me about how you play into that.
I play Jamie in The Great God Pan, and Jamie is a guy in his early 30s. He lives with his girlfriend in Brooklyn, and he is sort of getting by and trying to figure himself out. Jamie has always had a problem where he can't connect, he can't commit. And he's always accepted that that's who he is. Something comes to light at the beginning of the play that makes Jamie question his past and if it was what he thought it was. And he sort of goes on a quest to figure out what his past really was and if that is what made him who he is. Also, Jamie's a universal character in the sense that I think all guys in their 30s in our society have to struggle with this idea of who we are. There's a lot of supposed to's. We're supposed to have a great job and financial security. We're supposed to have a partner to share our lives with that we're ready to commit to. We're supposed to be ready to move on to that next phase. And Jamie is faced with the question of what happens if you're not? And who are you? And he also, at the end of the play, after he goes on this quest, is left with the question, which I think will be universal, which is, if we accept that our past made us who we are, and then we discover that our past is not what we thought it was, then who are we?
Wow. So really, people are going to leave thinking about these themes, and because really, I thought I was going to have an answer for you when you said that, and I thought about it for a split second, and I was like, no, I really don't have an answer because.
Well, and the next question is, does it matter?
Does it matter?
Does it matter? Does it matter how we got to where we are, or are we just who we are? How do we relate to the people around us?
Exactly. I think that what's exciting is that working with the Arsht Center and having a really copacetic relationship that way, they're giving us the trust to pick material that's thought-provoking, that's daring, challenging, exciting for the audience.
How do you switch gears between all the different plays and all the different works? Is that difficult for you as a director?
To be honest, it's a challenge. It's a challenge, but I love the rehearsal process. I love working with actors, and I love reading material and working with playwrights. So, no, it's not. It's exciting. You gotta be passionate.
Nick, this isn't your only production either, right?
No, I'm also in Assassins, and I'm really excited about that. The role that I'm doing in that has been on my wish list of dream roles for a long time. And that's a great musical. I've been telling my friends it's a musical, even for people who don't like musicals. I mean, it's really a wonderful show. I got the opportunity to see the revival they did in New York maybe about 10 years ago now with Neil Patrick Harris and a few others. And it was a phenomenal production, and I'm so excited to be in it here. I think Stuart is going to be a great director for it, and we have a great cast lined up for that.
And he plays John Wilkes Booth.
Okay, very exciting.
It's a little bit of a scoop.
So there you go. Did you know? That's breaking news.
No, I know.
Okay, that's great. Now everybody else does because it's official because it's on TV.
John Wilkes Booth right here.
What does Zoetic Stage mean to you as an actor in this community?
Well, Zoetic Stage really, it's given such an amazing home to so many actors here in South Florida, and the opportunity to be here at the Arsht Center, but also as a company, Stuart, as the artistic director, really believes in respecting each actor's vision and what they bring to the table. And I think we've been able to get so many great actors to work together and bring people who you may not even see together on the same stage in other theaters in South Florida, but really come here because they sort of know it's a great place to work and a great collective environment. So it's been really great to join the family here, and I hope there will be many more years to come.
That's a big deal when someone says, you know what, you're going to take the stage over at the Arsht Center.
It is a big deal. It's a big deal. It's a major center in the country, but it's also a great family, very supportive family here at the Arsht Center.
Stuart, does that play into it for you too? I mean, you're picking shows that are going to be at the Arsht Center.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, it's good to know that there's first of all, I come from the school of Walt Disney that said if you can dream it, you can do it. So I fully throw spaghetti to the wall and see what sticks. And
something usually does.
Something. You're absolutely right. And so when I'm going through a season or picking plays, I'm looking about what the community is hungry for, what's important, what's on the pulse of our conversation. Because ultimately, what I want as an artistic director is to have audiences communicate afterwards, to have a dialogue start. So what is the material that can spark dialogue?
Do you take part in the conversation afterwards? Is there a lot of social media buzz after a show? Do you inspire people to say, hey, you know what, go to Twitter, go to Facebook, tell us what you think, let's talk about this?
Absolutely. We keep a board out in the lobby. We encourage that. I do all the social media for Zoetic Stage, so we always encourage a dialogue. We love to hear what people think about the productions, especially when we do thought-provoking productions, and it helps to spread the word. We're a young company still, and word of mouth is the best way for us, and social media is a great way to engage people. That way we encourage people to engage with us.
You can go along for the journey in The Great God Pan, May 22nd through June 8th inside the Carnival Studio Theater. Head over to arshcenter.org to get your seats now. You're watching a special edition of Six in the Mix. Don't go anywhere. We are coming right back. Well, it's another world premiere over at the Adrienne Arsht Center. This next show is about a Marine Medal of Honor winner hiding a checkered past. I sat down with the playwright and the lead actress of Fear Arsht to get to the heart of some hidden truths. Chris, first up, why don't you tell me a little bit about the Zoetic Stage and what it means to South Florida?
Zoetic Stage is a theater that was founded by playwrights and directors in Florida, local artists, and our mission is to do work that originates here and then have the work go elsewhere. So it's really an opportunity to showcase artists in the community.
Tell me about your inspiration for this work.
I had an encounter with a Medal of Honor winner probably 5 or 6 years ago that was surprisingly unpleasant. And I thought it was interesting that this guy, because he had won a Medal of Honor, he was giving a speech in front of a crowd, basically was able to say anything he wanted and keep the audience wrapped and get away with it. And I thought that was kind of an interesting premise. And around the same time, a law was passed that made it illegal to lie about being a Medal of Honor winner. And these ideas kind of bounced around in my head. And I thought it was interesting that our conferring this very almost sacred award on people changes us and changes them, and I thought that was an idea worth writing about.
How did you choose Karen for the role?
I have been aware of Karen's work down here. This is part of what I think makes our theater a wonderful thing. And when I originally was putting together a reading for the play, I had Karen in mind for the role. It's gotten to be more and more of a collaboration, which is really wonderful. I think a couple of my favorite lines, unfortunately, now are Karen's that she's written. So, but that's the kind of artistic synergy that doesn't happen unless there are people working together organically from the community.
That has to be incredible for you to hear. This was written with you in mind.
Absolutely. It's a great compliment, especially coming from Chris. Chris has a great reputation as a playwright here in South Florida. I've been dying to do one of his plays for a long time, so when I was asked to do the reading, I jumped at the opportunity.
So tell me a little bit about your character.
I play Corporal Mary Jean Boudreau. She's an Army soldier. She has served on a joint task force, and I'm a little down on my luck.
What did you do to prepare for the role?
I have a niece who's in the Army. She's actually in military college right now, and she's a great source for me. And so when she gets out of college, she'll be going in as an officer. She's quite a leader, and I can get a lot of information from her.
What's one nugget that you've learned in preparing to play this role that maybe was unexpected or a surprise?
What a person has to go through mentally and emotionally to do the things that are necessary to be an effective soldier.
The character she plays is a female African-American soldier and a lesbian. I'm none of those things, and Karen's only half of those things, but she has tapped into
Three quarters.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was going to say. She has found her inner soldier and her inner lesbian so far in rehearsal really well. And
thank you.
Yeah. Well,
what's it like for you as a playwright to see it sort of coming together? Because you have this vision in your head, and you've written all these words. You've sort of imagined what the scene would look like. But when people like Karen are actually up there doing it, what's that feeling for you?
It's funny you asked that, because we were talking about this right before the interview, and I told Karen it had not really struck me how dramatic these characters would look on stage, because the way I see Karen on stage, she has a very kind of an intense and focused presence. And you know, if you look at her and imagine a young, very naive high school girl on spending stage time with her, it makes a really stark and interesting picture as these people try to figure one another out. And that was something that I was obviously aware of writing the roles, but it didn't hit me viscerally until I saw them actually performing with each other.
So what do you want people to walk away feeling when they see this work?
This is a play that's steeped in war, but is not about war. It's really meant to be an examination of what the process of giving people awards does to us and what it does to them. And it's meant to ask people, is that such a good thing? And should we put the emphasis on that we do? Whatever the award is. I just happen to pick what I think is the most important and the most honored of awards that we give in this country.
We're quick to label people as heroes in this country, but personally, I think that anyone who serves and comes home alive is a hero.
They all deserve a medal
They all
to be
deserve a
pinned
medal.
on them.
Absolutely.
Fear of Arsht will be on stage November 7th through November 24th inside the Carnival Studio Theater. If you want to experience this world premiere for yourself, head over to arstcenter.org to grab your seats now before they run out. Hey, thanks so much for watching this very special edition of 6 in the Mix. Don't forget that you can follow Zoetic Stage on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. The information is right here down below. I'm Jose Suarez. Again, thanks for watching, and we'll see you here next time on 6 in the Mix.